All right, good afternoon. Welcome to our 12 p.m. Wednesday briefing. Got a lot to go through, so I'm going to get started here with the first of it. Start with the main points, and we've been alluding to this since last Friday. Now it's pretty high confidence that unseasonably cold. In fact, we're talking about record cold moving into the region starting late Thursday night into Friday morning, and expected to last through the weekend. Temperatures are expected to be 20 to 35 degrees below normal. And historically, or at least from a context, it is the coldest air we've seen in 5 to 8 years. And for comparison, those of you that may remember the early January 2014 cold outbreak that we had, it is reminiscent of that. In fact, it's the last time we actually issued a wind chill warning. We're also expecting some strong winds with this, 25 to 35, gusting in the 40 to 50 in some cases. That will cause wind chill values to drop below zero for a good portion of the area, especially the northern sections, Friday night into Saturday in particular. There is a wind chill watch, will be likely converted to either an advisory or a warning today, with the impacts beginning after midnight Thursday night and extending that through Saturday. Something else, prolonged period, 72 hours or more of sub-freezing temperatures are expected through the weekend, and that has its own share of impacts that come with that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. On the wintry precip side, there is a potential for a quick shot, mainly north and west of I-85 and I-20, late Thursday night into early Friday. It looks like any precip would likely be exiting or be gone by the time we get to about 6 a.m. So most of it's going to occur in that midnight to 6 a.m. window, and it'll be a very quick transition from very light rain and showers to snow flurries and snow showers on the backside. We'll talk about some of that and what that impact might be, particularly as it relates to the temperatures. Any accumulations are expected to be less than 1 inch, and that includes even some of the higher elevations or a quick dusting. However, because of how cold the temperatures are coming in so quickly, and I'll allude to this, there is a potential for a flash freeze or some black ice for any residual moisture or for any precipitation that does fall on the frozen side once the temperatures drop below freezing Thursday night. So from a historical perspective, since 2000, Atlanta has been at or below 12 degrees only 8 times, the last time being January 2015. In Athens, only 6 times, the last time being 2018. Macon, only 7 times. In Columbus, only 4 times since 2000 at or below the temperatures you see there. So for Athens and Atlanta, it's 12 degrees, the marker. Macon and Columbus, it's 15 degrees. And so it is relatively rare, once every few years, and it's been quite a few years since we've seen temperatures this cold. And those temperatures, those 12 temperatures, obviously the number of times below 10 obviously is much less. And if we get into single digits, we're talking only a handful of times just in the last 20 to 30 years. So what we're looking at in terms of wind chill watches and warnings, you can see wind chill watch for the entire area that we're inclusive of. For Georgia, there's a hard freeze watch for South Georgia, and that also extends back into Alabama. Some of the Alabama counties have been upgraded to wind chill warning. The criteria for the wind chill watch and warning and advisory are pretty much the same for most offices that cover the state of Georgia. For advisory, if we go to a wind chill advisory, which we will for some of you, it's wind chills of +5 to as low as -9 degrees Fahrenheit. For a warning, it's -9 and below. And you'll see some of that when I go through the maps where we're expecting wind chills in those ranges. But again, the coldest ones appear to be Friday evening into Saturday, or at least Friday into early Saturday is when the coldest wind chills will be, because that's when we're expecting the winds to be the highest. So let's talk about temperatures. Daybreak, Friday morning. This is Thursday night. And I'll touch on this in a minute, how quickly they're going to drop, but temperatures will sharply fall after midnight through mid-morning Friday. This will be your early morning Friday temperatures. We're talking 19 degrees in the metro, or upper teens metro, low teens northwest to single digits in the northern mountains, and 20s. And so the area to the south and the east by Friday morning, say Dublin, Macon, Maracus, you guys will be in the 20s, and temperatures will be falling or holding steady through the day on Friday. We do expect widespread sub-freezing temps by 5 o'clock. So the areas in the far southeast will get in on the cold temps. When we look at the wind chills Friday, this is late Thursday night through Friday morning. This ends Friday morning. Wind chills will already be down around 0 across the I-20 corridor, and in the negative digits across the north and west of 85 and 20. You can see the negative 10 up in Blairsville. You would already be falling into the wind chill warning criteria up there for late Thursday night, early Friday. Single digits and teens south and east of the 85 corridor. And again, this is encompassing the winds that will be moving in Thursday night through Friday morning. So just to illustrate the drastic temperature drop, I'm going to show you two different models, and I want to point out two different things that are showing up on our when you look at the temperature. Don't pay attention particularly to the exact numbers that they're showing, but just the relative drop. So this particular loop starts at around, this one starts, well, I'm waiting for it to get back to the beginning. This one starts at 7 p.m. You can see temperatures in the 40s across the metro area. And by the time we get to 7 a.m., we're in the low teens, according to this model, in the single digits across the north. So when you look at a 44 degrees with a drop to around 15, 12, we're talking about a 30 degree temperature drop across mainly a 5 to 6 hour period. So that would, by all means, consider a flash freeze type scenario. Any residual moisture would freeze pretty quickly on roadways, depending on how quickly the rain and the precip exits and how quickly these temperatures move in and drop us below freezing. The fact that we're starting out already relatively low in the low to mid 40s doesn't have to fall far to get us into the 30s. And you can see the temperature drop from the 40s into the 30s is over about a 1 to 2 hour period, but really dropping into the teens and low 20s in a 3 to 5 hour time period. I'm going to show you another model just to give you an idea that confidence that the temperature drop is pretty stark and pretty drastic. Almost every model solution, individual model solution I show or I looked at shows this 30 to 35 and in some cases 40 degree Fahrenheit temperature drop over about a 5 to 6 hour period. This particular one starts at around 11 p.m. And you can see, just for example, the metro Atlanta starts at around 46. By the time we get to 12Z, which is 7 a.m., it's actually indicating single digit temperatures for the metro by 7 a.m. So some of it's timing, some of it's, some models are a little bit colder than others. But nonetheless, we can expect a pretty drastic and quick temperature drop from midnight to about 6, 7 a.m. Across much of the region. Obviously, starting sooner in the northwest, you guys will be around midnight with that temperature drop, and much later in the southeast part of our region. All right, so max temps on Friday. Max temps, many areas will see the highs for the day around midnight, which is Thursday night, and the highs for the day you can see posted here, 20s, low to mid 20s across much of the region, 30s around freezing across the southeast. Much of that will be seen at or before the cold front actually reaches you in the southeast. So the region, if I draw on the map here, if I can find my tools, here they are. This region down here, your temps will be occurring more or less early in the day before the cold front actually arrives, and your temperatures will probably fall. From For you folks up here, this might be a stretch, but if so, your highs again will be around midnight. But we'll see how temperatures play out. Some of the models are a little bit colder than others. Let me get to this. Here is going into Saturday morning. The latest forecast we have is around 11 degrees in the metro, single digits almost everywhere, near zero up in the mountains, or some places might actually fall below zero Friday night into Saturday morning. And then you can also see even sub-teen temperatures across the south and east, south of a Columbus to Macon line. Temps could be colder. Temps could be colder. There is some model guidance that is suggesting that temps could be colder than this Friday night into Saturday morning. It looks to be probably our coldest night out of all of the nights going into Saturday morning, and some of the guidance is a little bit cooler than this. Here are the wind chills. This is again going to be the coldest wind chill night, Friday night through Saturday. You can see the negatives, the negative teens showing up in the mountains, and approaching wind chill warning north and west of 85 and north of 20. Wind chill advisory pretty much across the rest of the area Friday night through Saturday. All right, so temperature range. We've sent some of this out on some of our social media just to give you an idea of probabilistic, because there are a wide range of models that vary in the timing and the degree of which the cold air is in here. This is the range of temperatures with the median being in the middle. So this is going into Saturday morning, the coldest morning. You can see we had on the last graphic a forecast of 11. This is showing a median of about 12 with a range anywhere from 8 to 18. And most places, you can see Athens 3 to 14 with a median around 9. So there are some models out there, and a number of them, that are showing temperatures lower than this, and just a couple of them that are also showing temperatures slightly warmer than that. And it may vary by site, but our actual forecast is giving you about the best forecast. But also want to let you know that there is a range out there, and there are some possibilities that are lower than what we currently have. Okay, going into Saturday, high Saturday, mid-20s across much of the region, lower 20s across the north. You folks from Columbus to Macon, Dublin, you'll be right around freezing for your highs on Saturday. You may some of you may go above for 1 or 2 to 3 hours across the southern part, but most everybody else will stay well below freezing during the day Saturday. Winds will begin to diminish through the day Saturday, so we'll have a much better day by Sunday with winds not quite as strong, but we still have wind chills in the single digits to low teens during the day Saturday. Just for your information, this is a record. The numbers you see on the screen are record low max temps by a couple degrees for the forecast for Saturday or Christmas Eve. So we are into record territory, at least on the forecast highs. The record lows are pretty cold, going back to 1983. There are some pretty cold temps in the record books for Saturday and Sunday. All right, going into Sunday, Christmas Day, low Saturday night and Sunday. Teens across much of the region, lower, of course, across the north, and highs on Christmas Day. This graphic I'm showing you down on the highs for Saturday or for Sunday is the most recent guidance that came in about an hour ago. And so you can see even in the I-20, I-85 corridor, we're talking about temps getting to freezing or so, or near freezing. So if we go above, it would only be for about an hour or two, not enough to thaw or unfreeze anything that is frozen on Saturday, or on Sunday. So when we look at this in terms of hours below freezing, if I start the clock Friday morning at 7 a.m. and run through 7 a.m. Monday, so that's a 72-hour window. Those are the numbers you see on the screen across the area, are the number of hours in that 72-hour window that are forecast to be below freezing. And some of this may change, but you can see across the north, you all are expected to not go above freezing. The areas where we see temperatures, 69 or 70, that's maybe a degree, or at 32 or so on Sunday, Christmas Day, and then dropping back below. So that would say maybe get to freezing or slightly above for 1, 2, 3 hours on Sunday and then go below. And then, of course, the far southeast, you're going to be above freezing a little bit sooner on Sunday, and possibly even a little bit more on Friday ahead of the front before the temperatures really plummet below freezing by 5 o'clock. So the moral of this story is it is possible that we have an extended period of or 72 hours or more of below freezing temps or sub-freezing, and in some cases well below freezing temps. That prolonged period of sub-freezing temperatures will cause problems for at least exposed pipes, potential pipe bursting, for anything that's unprotected outside. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. These numbers could increase in the I-20 corridor as we see newer guidance starting to trend colder for Sunday. So it's entirely possible that the I-20 corridor would stay below freezing through the weekend all the way into Monday. And it isn't until late morning Monday into Monday afternoon that we actually go above freezing across most areas. The mountains might be the only place that we don't. But we'll take a look at that in time. So let's talk about the winds. Behind the front, Thursday night through Friday afternoon, 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, gusting in some cases possibly up to 50, particularly in the northern mountains. A wind advisory will likely be needed, and possibly a high wind watch or warning across the mountains. We'll have to play that by ear moving forward, but it seems pretty consistent in the 30 to 40 range, which falls into our wind advisory, hence the very low wind chills that we have in addition to the cold temps. So let's talk about precip now. Rain changing to snow, and we're not talking about a lot of rain and we're not talking about a lot of snow, but the area, and it's pretty consistent in the models, the area that highlighted in blue here, a trace up to ½ inch of snow. And I mentioned this earlier, because of the cold, extreme cold temps, the potential to see some icy roads quickly develop is there early Friday morning as the precip is exiting and the cold air is coming in. Nonetheless, we are expecting light rain to change to snow flurries, snow showers across the north and west part of the state Thursday night into Friday. Areas in blue, as I mentioned, have the best chance to see any accumulations or anything falling from the sky. All areas could see patchy black ice, and this all depends on how much residual moisture remains. And that's largely due to the rapidly falling temps. The one caveat to all of this is we have some really strong winds and some really dry air coming in, so things will dry out pretty quickly. It's just a matter of how much and when and how much rain any one area gets over another. We're not forecasting a lot, up to maybe 1/10 of an inch, possibly 1/4 of an inch up in the far northeast, but it actually decreases. The amount of precip amounts actually decrease as you go south. Our official snow forecast that we have in our grids, you can see up to 1/4 to 1/3 across the north. And again, it all depends on the timing with the snow changeover, and how much of it actually sticks remains to be seen. Nonetheless, anything that melts or becomes water residual could refreeze pretty quickly, especially across the north. The area I've, again, highlighted in red, light snow flurries or snow shower is possible as the front moves in before daybreak. And a lot of this is going to occur before daybreak Friday. And most, if not all, of the precip will be gone before the sun rises on Friday morning. So, cold weather impacts. I just wanted to mention this. Any exposed water lines and pipes will be at risk for freezing and bursting. So, as much as you can message folks to cover up pipes and faucets and anything outdoors that freeze, because ultimately what that's going to lead to are lower water pressures and issues with water through the weekend. Any outdoor pets should be cared for, taken care of, and then obviously anybody that's outside or exposed would be at risk for hypothermia. And so I wanted to throw this graphic up for warning signs for hypothermia for awareness. So won't read through a lot of the summary, but I will open up a lot of the open up the questions for anybody who has questions. And I'll leave, since the summary we've already gone through at the beginning, I'll leave you with the contact info slide. Pull this out. All right. How likely are we to see roads drying before the cold air freezes everything? There's two contributing factors to that. One will be how much precip are we actually going to get, and two, the timing of the cold air in behind that precip. When I was looking at the total rainfall forecast from 7 p.m. Thursday night through 1 a.m., which would be ahead of the cold front, we are forecasting 0.02 to as much as 0.1 on the forecast precip, and that is in the 6-hour block through 1 a.m. Most of that would be in the form of rain. It's not a lot of rain. When I look at the 6-hour block after midnight through 6 a.m., this would be in the transition period. We're looking at almost the entire area in the, I'd say, entire area north of I-20, west of 75, in the 0.02 to as much as 0.05. And the 0.05 to 0.07 is in the North Mountains. That would be in the form of snow. And that's what corresponds to our snow grid. So when we're talking about overall precip amounts, we're talking most places less than 1/10 of an inch. It shouldn't take long to dry that out. And so I think there's going to be some areas that do see some where they're sheltered a little bit from the wind and from the drying. But a lot of areas, particularly those that are exposed, shouldn't have too much of a problem drying out, especially with the winds coming in. But we wanted to throw that out there just to let you know that there is a chance. And if there is any snow showers or anything quickly changing over, anybody who might see a heavier snow shower or a snow burst as it's exiting out obviously would have a localized impact in that region, particularly with how cold it gets. We saw this back in 2014 when temperatures were below 27 degrees and precip was falling. It didn't evaporate. It melted pretty quickly and refroze pretty quickly. So, but we're not talking about those kinds of amounts. So I don't see a widespread issue. It seems to be like more of a localized issue with any showers. Next question, recap. High winds are expected overnight Thursday. Yes, getting with the cold front itself. So the winds will really pick up once the cold front passes through. That is in the midnight to 6 a.m. time frame is when your winds will really start picking up. And those will be gusty through the day Friday. Let's see. Warming center planning, temp forecast for Sunday night, Monday. Let me get into Sunday night into Monday. Yeah, Monday will be a cold night as well. So Sunday night into Monday morning, low temps are upper teens, anywhere from Columbus to Macon to Augusta north, and near 20 south of that. Monday highs, mid 40s across the southern tier, south of 20, near 40, north of 20, as a general rule of thumb. And then Tuesday morning, temps mid 20s for lows Tuesday morning across much of the region. Low 20s across the mountains. Let's see, Friday's highs for, let's see, they're asking Friday highs. Somebody's asking about Friday highs on Dublin.